Take a look at these player counts for the game. One was in 2024, and the other is in late 2026. What happened in this time frame? What could have possibly gone wrong for the game to have a fall off this massive? Well, it has to do with this game.
You what?
Jokes aside, Soul-Driven Love did actually want Forsaken, or what it was known as Damnation, to be more popular than Pillar Chase and just be a better game overall, which I guess they'd get their wish. Forsaken is one of the bigger reasons due to Pillar Chase's downfall, but that's not all that it boils down to. Pillar Chase's main gameplay loop back then had a massive issue. This being that after you complete the number of objectives, you are basically just walking around waiting for the round to end, and also how unbalanced certain monsters can be. There was a time where if you wanted coins, you really just had to play MX due to how brainless his gameplay was. And not to mention the roster purge, with almost all of the original cast being scrapped or just get remodeled at some point or left in limbo for what seems like forever. But this isn't fully the reason. This has to do with the overall feel for Pillar Chase degrading over time, which we can see clearly by looking at feedback over the years. I think the first big issue started when Pillar Chase started to get community feedback on balancing rather than testers, and this is a horrible, horrible thing to do long term. Reason being is that the community will not understand what they truly want from a monster. A community will not look at the issues long term and will instead battle with each other over what balance they want rather than what will work. This was fully seen in display with PCX and the amount of reworks he was given on his first release. He went from being overpowered to underpowered, back to overpowered again. The community couldn't decide what they wanted out of this furball. Another thing that made Pillar Chase pre-code more fun than recode is unironically the janky feel of the game rather than the recoded smoother feel of the game. Pillar Chase has definitely become a more serious game rather than what it was before. The feel of old Pillar Chase was something special for sure, and I truly do miss it. The gameplay and feel of the game that was once there in the old game was lost in translation from pre-code to the recode. I'm sure if that feel was still there, the player count would be higher, but that's just speculative. Though for what recode is very important. None of the movesets in the game are actually bad. It's more or less the concept itself. This is a very important part of recode, which I'll be talking about for a bit, so, you know. One fundamental issue is just how the quick-time events are in-game. When playing as the monster, there is no real way to know how good a player is when giving them this quick-time event. There is no true way to punish survivors when playing, as it's all based on how good the survivor is at the quick-time event instead of something that can actually truly punish players. For example, Stricken and MX both has abilities that could easily close distances between players and punishing players that aren't paying attention, which is good. If you hit a player with a charging demise, you know that you actually hit a player due to them not paying attention like before. You know that you got a hit and did damage rather than hoping that you did. Another thing that is very noticeable is just the fact that rounds last much longer than before. To be fair, this isn't exactly a bad thing, as bite-by-night rounds can take a good while, but there you have a smaller map and a game that was very much focused on tasks, which is good for what the game is trying to be. I feel like Pillar Chase doesn't know what it is trying to be. Teamwork is something I can see that it wants to have, but the game doesn't reward that enough. I feel like classes are a good way to do so, but tasks or objectives for Pillar Chase don't need server-sided objectives or tasks. While I'm sure many may disagree, but for what Pillar Chase is, it truly doesn't need them. But it's not just how long rounds can be, but how long it can be until you are the monster. Let's not snake charm ourselves, because I have around 250 hours or so on Pillar Chase, and just how long it takes to become monster is insane. Corso summed it up best for me when it comes to recode.
Either I was doing something wrong or the abilities are incredibly underpowered. Not only is the survivor experience awful, it takes forever to become killer. 50 minutes into my recording, I had still not become killer once and had to spend Robux to increase my chances. Genuinely painful. Then, when it was finally my turn to be killer, I didn't even have that much fun. Maybe the killer I used just sucked, but I felt significantly weaker than anything I went up against, the abilities weren't fun to use, etc. In my notes, you can tell I really did not have a good time. In the old version of the game, it seemed like the strong suit of it was the fact that there were so many killers to choose from, but after the rework, there's only a couple of killers, the gameplay sucks, and I'm not really sure what this game is.
This is about all I have to say when it comes to pillar chase and the state of Recode. I promise I won't make more of these type of videos in the future, at least not for a while, and will make more lighthearted videos soon. No hate to Pillar Chase and the development team, I just wish things played out differently.
Hey, Chris, how do I make these ramen noodles?
Dad, it's just instant ramen. You just add hot water.